Once you get one.
I can't breathe.
All right, cool. So everybody knows and has written down what questions they're supposed to do?
No. You're gonna post them, right?
Should I?
No, I just showed them to you.
Hold on, I got
46
you.
to 48, right? Okay.
There you go.
Feeding one. Got it.
46 to 48. Okay.
Okay, everybody good?
Brandon.
Can y'all communicate that to your team member who's not here?
Yeah.
Brandon. He is a man.
Where are you gonna find those at?
I mean,
Like the questions.
That's the on the CK12 where you click the
Okay.
so we got through this yesterday, or not yesterday, Friday. We talked about photosystem 2 and 1, having a light harvesting complex and a reaction center. So light harvesting complex, think about it as mirrors that orient the light energy to the central complex, and that's where chlorophyll is going to be. You might have some other pigments besides chlorophyll within there to help move things along, and again, it just passes it to that central reaction center. And it excites the electrons in chlorophyll, passing it into the electron transport chain of photosynthesis. Light due to redox reaction, redox is just reduction, oxidation. Reduction is gain of electrons, oxidation is loss. Lost them. All right, the lost electron is replaced from a process called photolysis. We split water into hydrogen ions, electrons, and oxygen. So this is the process, photolysis, that makes oxygen in photosynthesis. In photosystem 1, the electrons come from the ETC, basically the sequence, pass them along. These are what the electron or your photosystems look like. Again, you've got photosystem 2. It's where photosynthesis kind of starts when we talk about the light-dependent reactions. Light energy comes and hits some of these accessory pigments. Then it goes to chlorophyll, causes the electron to be energized, and go down the electron transport chain. These electrons that are energized and lost to the electron transport chain are replaced by splitting water, so we can get more electrons and continue that process. And again, the byproduct of this, oxygen, hydrogen ions, and electrons. It's going to go through an electron transport chain, and then those electrons are going to go into photosystem 1, where it absorbs light energy again, goes into an electron carrier, and forms an electron carrier that we use in the Calvin cycle called NADPH. Big picture, this is kind of what it looks like. Again, light energy creates high energy electrons, goes to an electron transport chain, moves hydrogen ions from the stroma cytoplasm into the lumen, which is the inside of that thylakoid, creating a concentration gradient that will eventually be used to make ATP. Goes from photosystem 2 down the electron transport chain to photosystem 1, where it gets hit light again, becomes energized, and that energized electron is taken into NADPH, which is another energy carrying molecule. So when we talk about the light-dependent reactions, the two things it's doing is making ATP, ATP synthase there at the bottom right, and then NADPH from those high energy electrons there at the top right. Okay, that is what the light reactions do. It's a big deal. Yes, sir?
What is that arrow?
Which arrow?
The one's going down and then right, bottom right. Yeah.
This is your chemiosmotic gradient.
Yeah.
Okay, so the hydrogen ions are going from here to here. And as they go through it, they're causing ATP synthase to turn adenosine diphosphate and an inorganic phosphate into adenosine triphosphate.
Thank you.
Sure. Alright, electron transport chain. There's two parts in the light reactions. The first one transports negative electrons from photosystem 2 to photosystem 1, because photosystem 2 comes first, photosystem 1 comes second.
What chapter are we?
Chapter 8.
Yeah.
That's a terrible question to ask. What chapter are we on? Oh, the one called photosynthesis.
I knew it. I just didn't know which number.
Alright, the first transports electrons from PS2 to PS1 via the electron transport chain that has clastoquinone, cytochrome, plastocyanin. You should be familiar with these terms. You don't have to know exactly what they are. Okay, you don't have to be like.
PSI is tire pressure.
Say what?
PSI is tire pressure.
Hey, I like it. PSI.
Mr.Rowell.
Oh no, that's PS1. That's a Sony game console.
Why?
I just know what my number one is. Sorry.
Right.
Mine has a PS2, PS.
Yeah, PS2 also a Sony game console.
Yeah, mine has PS2, PS3.
Yeah.
And PS4.
I thought you were coming up. Oh, if you need to know the the protein's electron transport chain, just remember PCP.
PCP.
CCP. The second one transports the electrons from photosystem 1 to NADP reductase via paradoxin. The final electron acceptor of the light reaction is NAD+, yielding NADPH. Taking the light reactions make ADP and NADPH using photosystems and electron transport chains. Any questions on this? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I don't know if this is like a dumb question. How does it the second one? How does it transport we go back like electrons from the photosystem 1 to NAD? Like, isn't NADP like ATPs and like just a little thing like electrons? Remember they like move around?
It's not. Electrons go into it.
Yeah, electrons are hydrogen.
No.
What?
Protons are hydrogen
Okay,
ions.
okay.
Right.
No, he said something about that the other day. Yeah, I thought
Give me
he
one
was-
second.
Dad would.
Yeah. My dad doesn't give me the look. He just says.
He just yelled at you.
So we look over here to the right. This is what NADPH looks like. So each one of these lines is a chemical bond, which is 2 electrons. So when we talk about adding electrons to it, all we're adding is an extra chemical bond, right? That's it. So this is a pretty big molecule, considering, like, again, each one of these lines is equivalent to 2 electrons, and that's what all we're adding is 2 electrons to it. Does that help provide clarification a little bit? Okay, where does it not?
Like, no, it's fine.
No. Ask away.
Why is it? That's crazy. These are like mirror screens.
So like just NADP takes electrons.
Yeah, it's if you remember from like cell respiration, we had FADH2 and NADH. Same thing, except we're just making it a little bit more complicated, adding the P in there. Give me 1 second here.
Oh, because that's how it gets the plus and like all that, guys.
Yeah, right, because we're positive here, and we're also adding a hydrogen ion, which is positive. So we have 2 positive charges, and then we have 2 negative charges in the electrons, and we end up with a neutral molecule.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I see it now.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, good deal. So just like the electron transport chain of cellular respiration, the hydrogen ion gradient is created as electrons fall down the chain, and the hydrogens are pumped into the lumen space. ATP synthase then uses that gradient to generate ATP, called chemiosmosis. Just a moving of hydrogen ions.
There's too many big words.
Sorry. As I told, what was it, first hour this morning? I was like, this is the hardest part of all of it, okay?
Big words.
But we're always going to go back to it because I don't want you to think like, oh yeah, I can just get through this and then I don't have to ever do it again. No, it's going to be like, okay, continually keep it.
The ATP synthesis that generates ATP. Was not the question on the quiz you said was wrong? Or was it? Because you said something about generating ATP.
I don't know. We'll look at it when this is okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I thought that was wrong, then I was like, oh no.
All right, let me.
I didn't look that. But it was
What was the question? ATP synthase?
It was like the one with the 3 boxes. It was like.
Was it the only one question that I've got that has ATP synthase is chemiosmotic gradient causes hydrogen ions to flow back across the mitochondrial membrane into the matrix through ATP synthase.
Oh, what was the one that it said something about generating ATP?
Oh, it says to generate energy for ATP production. That is what does the electron transport stage do?
Oh.
It doesn't generate energy. It doesn't make energy. It just transfers energy, so it doesn't make it. That's the only difference.
Oh. Okay.
Well,
If you look at this one, this is just kind of a different schematic of photosystems 1 and 2, where we've got kind of a vertical axis representing energy. So as light hits this reaction center and energy excites these electrons from chlorophyll, they go up in energy to electron acceptor. They go down the electron transport chain, losing energy. That energy is used to move hydrogen ions across the membrane. Finally, the electrons go to this photosystem 1, get hit with light again, become energized, and then go to NADPH. You're like, right? Do you have any questions or clarifications on this?
Why do they keep jumping up?
The vertical axis represents energy,
Okay.
and so when it gets hit with light, they become energized.
So they get the energy from the light.
From light,
Okay.
yep, right. And then they use this energy to transport hydrogen ions, they get hit again, and they use this energy to make a energy carrying molecule.
And they just keep doing that.
As long as it's got light, yes sir.
Okay.
Yes sir.
So could you technically say that light is like a potential energy until it hits the causes?
But isn't
I
light,
wouldn't say potential energy because,
isn't light in waves?
yeah, I would say it is energy, and then it gets transferred into electrons. Okay. It's just semantics, but yeah, light is energy, and then it gets transferred to electrons. Want a little clarification?
Oh, I like the little game.
Top right.
I do like it too. Again, I pulled this one from another AP Bio presentation, so just know it's not just you that feels this way. It's a pretty common feeling, like, oh Lord, right? But here's the deal: if I'm going to hit anything over the next, 18 to 27 weeks or whatnot, however many weeks we have left, I'm going to hit cell respiration and photosynthesis the most on the recap stuff. And the reason is because it's the most complicated. Yeah, because of this, right? So I know there's a lot of stuff here.
I see a lot of light.
Yeah,
Wait, is it color coded?
don't get caught up in that. Again. Alright, the key components. Photosystem 2, photosystem 1. Which one comes first? Photosystem 2, right? Light hits photosystem, energizes electrons.
Yeah.
Electrons go down electron transport chain to photosystem 1.
And hits light. Boom.
Yeah. Now, as it goes down this electron transport chain, what's it doing? It's moving
Hydrogen.
protons, which are hydrogen ions, from the stroma into the lumen. Okay, creating what?
Hydrogen.
Gradient.
A gradient.
Yeah.
Anything else like a gradient? Very good. Now, this electron that went down here, how do we replace it?
Another one comes
Yeah, when the
in.
hydrogen loses an electron becomes an ion. It goes back in there, right?
Yeah, when we do photolysis, we break water into oxygen, hydrogen ions, and electrons. The electrons go back up and replace the ones that were lost from photosystem 2.
Okay, so
Yes, sir.
isn't it color coded like what goes with what in there pretty much?
Kind of,
Okay.
but not.
Like I'm talking about the light part. Like light goes to electrons, light
Oh.
goes to electrons.
Yeah.
And that's what's that at the end? With the P's.
Where? Here?
Yeah.
ATP.
Oh, okay. I see it.
Okay. Good. Alright. So again, kind of take a step back. Electrons go across the electron transport chain, get transferred to photosystem 1, get hit with light energy again, become high energized. These energized electrons get transferred to this high energy electron carrier in pH. And then this gradient that was created from electron transport chain is used as an energy source to drive ATP production. You wanna watch a video?
Yes.
Alright, let's see if it works.
My brain is going right now. Well, oh.
Photosynthesis is a process that captures energy from the sun to produce sugars. It occurs in both prokaryotes, like cyanobacteria, and eukaryotic autotrophs. In eukaryotic autotrophs, photosynthesis takes place in the chloroplast. The chloroplast is a double-membrane organelle that is compartmentalized into thylakoids, which are stacked in structures called corona. The fluid region outside of the thylakoids is called the stroma. Compartmentalization of the chloroplast helps to increase surface area and to decrease competition between nuclear interactions. This increases the efficiency of the reactions that take place. The two main processes that occur in photosynthesis are the light-dependent reactions, which take place in the thylakoid, and the Calvin cycle, which takes place in the stroma. Let's first look at the light-dependent reactions, which specifically take place in the thylakoid membrane and in the thylakoid compartment. Embedded into the thylakoid membrane is a series of proteins, including photosystem 2, a proton pump, and photosystem 1. There are several other membrane proteins as well that are involved in electron transport. Water is split into light-dependent reactions. This results in H plus ions, or protons, electrons, and oxygen gas as a byproduct. The electrons enter photosystem 2. The photosystems contain chlorophyll, a pigment that is capable of absorbing light energy from the sun. Photosystem 2 absorbs light energy, which is used to boost electrons to a higher energy level. The electrons become excited. The high energy electrons are then passed through an electron transport chain, or ETC, in a series of chemical reactions. The reactions that occur as the electrons are transferred release energy that is utilized by the proton pump. The proton pump uses the energy from electron transport to establish a proton gradient. Protons are actively transported from the stroma to the thylakoid compartment. There is now an electrochemical gradient, a difference in both proton concentration and charge across the thylakoid membrane.
Do y'all still want to watch this?
No.
The
The proton gradient is necessary to
Who
produce
says yes?
ATP energy,
which
which
we
we'll talk about.
Who says no?
First,
First,
we'll
we'll
Think
talk
that knows
about
how
what
it-
happens to the
electrons
electrons
in
in
the
the ETC.
The
The
electrons
electrons
now
now
have
have lower
lower
energy.
and
No, it's not.
Oh my goodness.
Even the guy's like, yeah, we'll do this. I'm like, nope, not gonna.
Why not?
I'd rather listen to your beautiful voice, Mr. Rowell.
I don't know. I do like that little picture of this guy on the top right. He's like, no, man. Okay. Hey, just know that I had a class where I had to memorize every single protein in this. So I had to know the proteins that made up photosystem 2, the proteins in the electron transport chain, and then like the proteins in this one. Do I remember them? No. Did I have to learn them? Yes. Yes, sir. Okay, yep, turn it silent. Or
What class was that?
cell biology.
Is that
Oh, that's
just to be a
why.
science teacher, or is that just a college?
No, it's a college class to get a biology degree.
Mr. Rowell,
Oh, do you,
you know
okay.
what I'm dressing up for Halloween as?
What's up? Oh man, you better win the scariest costume.
We should just all the AP Bio kids dress as you.
No, you should dress up as AP biology students and just be like sad all day.
No,
And
me,
just try to be.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
No, me,
Mr. Rowell,
Raylan,
Marty
and
might
Kate
be
might
dressed
do
as
it
a-
Hey, how are you? So
Katie's in the front, Kathy.
as a joke, my second day on the last job that I had, I was in downtown OKC, and I was walking my box, and we saw a homeless person, and he's like, "See that guy?" Well, that's what my boss said. I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "His name's John. He was doing what you did before he didn't cut it. So just so you know, that's where you're gonna end up if you don't make it." I was like, "Oh!"
Crazy.
He'd also come in and tell me he had my pink slip today. I'm like, "Bring it on." What is the external source of electrons that ultimately pass through the photosynthetic electron transport chain? Is it A, B, C, or D? Don't say it. Think about it. Okay, think about it. Think about it. Think about it. The ultimate source, like where do those electrons come from?
Oh. I know.
I really don't remember.
Somebody, hey, you gotta throw up your gang signs, guys. Okay, there you go. Mr. Jones is like, like, what side? Correct answer is D, water, 4. Okay. All right.
3 and 1.
Remember, this process called photolysis splits water into oxygen, hydrogen ions, and electrons. Those electrons go to photosystem 2 to replace the ones that were lost. They became highly energized and went to the electron transport chain.
Whoa. Scary
Read the diagram. Which system? 1 or 2? What system? What diagram are you talking about?
Probably the one before that.
Oh, this one? Yeah.
We're talking about how that's everything.
That's a lot. Let's see how this.
Yeah, pause.
So actually, oh yeah, which photosystem? 1 or 2? Which photosystem splits water?
2.
2. Which photosystem produces NADH?
1.
1. Which has the electron transport chain?
1.
I would say both, but they have different types of electron transport chains, right? Which one requires light? Both. Which one utilizes a primary electron acceptor?
2. 1. No, 1. 1.
I would say 1 because it's going to be NADPH. Okay.
Yeah.
Which one occurs in the thylakoid? Which one requires the input of H2O?
One.
Two.
Two. Yeah, two's the first one, right?
Yeah.
Which one releases oxygen?
One.
Two. Yeah, we release oxygen when we split the water. Okay.
I don't know, that monster's pretty scary though.
Right.
This is confusing.
It is very confusing.
Why is 1, 2, and 2, 1?
Because they discovered
Wait.
photosystem 1 first, and then they discovered photosystem 2.
So I'll
He
So their
continued
name-
by saying what
Great question.
Yep.
Which excited electrons play a role in the formation of NADPH? The electrons from photosystem 1 cause the reduction of NADPH to NADP+. So read these, think about them.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, electrons from photosystem 2 cause the reduction of NADP+ to NADPH. Electrons from photosystem 1 cause the reduction of NADP+ to NADPH. Electrons are gained, which causes the oxidation of NADPH. All right, so read through them. Okay, throw up your gang signs. Okay. All right.
That's wrong.
Correct answer is
Oh,
3.
What?
Oh, I have to look.
Okay. So 1, we know this isn't correct because we don't change NADPH to NADP+ in the light-dependent reactions. We know it's not this because we're reducing, we're not oxidizing.
Yep.
And then we can go back to this little figure here. Photosystem 1, electrons come from here, and then go make NADPH. So it is
C.
Trace.
C. Very good. If the stomata were sealed, what would happen to oxygen, O2, and carbon dioxide levels in a photosynthesizing leaf? Read it and think about it.
I think so.
Yeah, stomata 6.
Okay.
Well, so technically, 7, this whole thing right here is a stomata. 6 would be what's called the stoma. These would be the heart cells. Yeah. All right. Go ahead and throw up your gang signs. Okay. Correct answer is A. O2 level will increase.
Yeah.
Remember, during the light-dependent reactions, what do we make as part of that photosynthesis 2? We make oxygen. And then as part of the Calvin cycle, which comes later, right, we take in CO2 and turn it into sugars. And so that would go down because we don't have any gas exchange, right? As you can also see here, remember oxygen is supposed to go out, CO2 is supposed to come in. That would kind of give you a little hint. On a hot, dry day, plants close their stomata to conserve water. Predict the impact of this on photosynthesis. What would happen if we close it and we can't get water?
Well, then you would not have
It
water to
shows up.
get electrons, and then it would die.
Okay, you can't get electrons from the water because it wouldn't be there, so you can't complete the light reactions because that's the first step, right? You got to get electrons from somewhere. Very good.
Questions? No.
All right, I got 10 minutes.
I got it.
All right, using light to make organic molecules. The section question: what are the reactions in the Calvin cycle described as the light-independent reaction? Why do you think they're called that?
They don't need no light.
They don't need it directly,
Independent.
right? Why does the term carbon fixation describe the products of the Calvin cycle? Why do you think that is?
What Calvin cycle does it? Fixes carbon.
Yeah, fixes carbon from inorganic CO2 to organic glucose. What's the role of photosynthesis in the energy cycling of all living organisms?
Because the producers are eaten by everything else.
Yeah, right.
In some way or shape.
So all energy comes from photosynthesis, and again, photosynthesis is the opposite equation of cellular respiration. Very good. All right. So the ATP and NADPH that were created during the light-dependent reactions go into the stroma and are used as energy for the Calvin cycle. Okay. So again, this ATP goes over here. This NADPH goes over here too. Gives us the energy to make sugar from carbon dioxide.
I feel that water.
Yes, ma'am.
So, do you take this stuff in the book?
Most of it, yes.
So, could we go through the chapter,
Yeah,
the section and read it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Is that what we're supposed to do sometimes?
It's posted. Yeah, that's why I did have those chapter readings so you can read through it, right? And the textbook's online, so you should be able to I got posted as under the material, so you should be able to go through it. But yeah, use whatever resources you can.
Did you get 12 or others?
The other one, the API one. Alright, this is what it looks like all together. Intake CO2, output sugars by using these energy molecules. You notice it's a circle, that means we always have to regenerate the beginning stage so we can continue it. Alright, 3 stages in the Calvin cycle. Fixation. We add CO2 to RUBP from an enzyme named Rubisco. And this generates 2, 3 PGA molecules. That number 3 tells us there's going to be 3 carbons. Stage 2, reduction, ATP and NADPH use the energy to make sugar, or basically a sugar precursor called GAP3, or GA3P, excuse me. It takes 2 of those to make a glucose, and then the last stage is regeneration of RUBP, so you can continue the cycle again. It takes 3 cycles to make GA3P, because every 1 cycle you're adding 1 carbon dioxide. So how many cycles do you need to have to make 1 glucose? 6, yeah. Every cycle makes 1 CO2. Alright, this is what it looks like. You need to know Rubisco. You need to know that CO2 comes in and this GA3P comes out. 2 GA3Ps make a glucose. Alright? And you need to know that RUBP is regenerated. Okay, so you need to know like the main stages. Remember, fixation, reduction, regeneration. Fixation is where we add carbon dioxide to make these PGA molecules. Reduction is where we change energy in the form of ATP or NADPH so that we can make this GA3P. And regeneration is we regenerate that RUBP.
What is fixation mean?
We add carbon dioxide into a 3-PGA molecule. We're basically turning an inorganic carbon dioxide into an organic molecule that's a sugar precursor.
Thank you.
Alright, you don't need to memorize. Give me 1 second, let me finish this.
Memorize.
Memories.
If Mr.Rowell's got that memory.
Memories.
I don't know.
Lady, when I was up in the class,
How?
you said you were.
Alright, you don't need to memorize everything, but you need to know the purpose of Rubisco. This is the enzyme that does the fixation of CO2 with RUBP to make these 3 PGA molecules. You need to know that PGA is made from Rubisco and RUBP, and you need to know what ATP and NADPH say add energy. Okay.
It's a Monday, Mr. Rowell.
Yeah, which of the following statement is true? In photosynthesis, oxygen, carbon dioxide, ATP, and NADPH are reactants. GA3P and water are products. In photosynthesis, chlorophyll, water, and carbon dioxide are reactants. GA3P and oxygen are products. In photosynthesis, water, carbon dioxide, ATP, and NADPH are reactants. RUBP and oxygen are products. In photosynthesis, water and carbon dioxide are reactants. GA3P and oxygen are products. Which one do you think it is? It is 4. Good job. Evaluate processes of photosynthesis and respiration that takes place in cycle reaction. And give me 1 second. Let me see how many.
A lot.
Virtual models.
Yeah, 4 is correct. Alright, we don't have enough time to hit through these, so I'm going to roll past, okay? Calvin cycle, Rubisco, ribulose bisphosphate, carboxylase oxygenase. It is the most common protein on the planet. It can function in the Calvin cycle, and it can also do something called photorespiration, which does not result in sugar production. Some plants like the cactus have developed mechanisms to reduce the chances of photorespiration. That way you're not wasting energy.
It's only 5 minutes, Mr. Rowell.
Yeah, there's 2 5-minute ones.
Oh, I like
About to say we're running. So these are kind of the section questions. What is needed for plant growth?
CO2 and water.
Okay, what else? Light?
Light, yeah.
Okay, that makes sugar. How does the structure of the leaf relate to the function of photosynthesis and energy harvest?
Because that's how the leaves are like sunlight.
Yeah, so leaves are going to have the chloroplasts. Also, they're going to have their stomata to let the gas in and out. How does action spectrum relate to absorption spectrum? Do we use all of the light energy, or do we only use some of it? Some of it. Which one do we not use?
Green.
Green. What are the reactants and products in the light-dependent reaction?
Light energy.
Light energy.
Water is a reactant.
Water's a reactant. What else is a reactant?
CO2.
Not in the light-dependent ones. We don't, that one doesn't come into effect until the light-independent, right? Okay, so yeah, water, light. What are the products?
NADPH.
And
ATP.
ATP and oxygen. You also make some hydrogen ions in there too. What are the reactants and products of the light-independent reactions?
Oh, I got you.
Okay.
CO2.
Yeah, that's a reactant. What other two reactants are we gonna have?
Water. Still, right?
No.
We're gonna use water.
NADPH.
NADPH and
ATP.
ATP. And then how does the reaction start? We add carbon dioxide to RuBP, right? RuBP. Okay, now Rubisco is the thing that adds the carbon RuBP.
Okay.
The three stages, what are they? First one starts with an F.
Fixation.
Fixation, we add carbon to RuBP to make 3-PGA. The second one is reduction. We add energy molecules to it to make that Ga3P, what's in the glucose. The third one is regeneration. We regenerate what? That RuBP. So this is going to be the light dependent reactions.
That was like a 90s cartoon.
Yeah, for that.
Oh, God.
Alright, we'll do this last one and we'll go. Photosynthesis and aerobic respiration are interrelated in important ways. During photosynthesis, plants take in carbon dioxide and water. The water molecule is split, the oxygen is released into the atmosphere, and the carbon dioxide is used to build carbohydrates. During aerobic respiration, organisms take in water and oxygen for respiration and produce carbon dioxide. The Earth did not contain oxygen in its atmosphere throughout much of its history. Even after life on Earth had already began, it did, however, contain carbon dioxide, which does suggest that when photosynthetic organisms evolved relative to, what does this suggest about when photosynthetic organisms evolved relative to non-photosynthetic organisms and why? Read the questions, let me know put your gang sign up for your answer.
I got this. Don't mess me up. Broken verbs. Oh. I'm just gonna smell.
Why is he doing
I don't know. He has Sonic, and I'm kind of jelly.
West Eastern.
That's not how that works.
That's not how it works, Joe.
West Eastern.
That's not how it works, Joe.
Mr.Rowell.
Yeah. 2%?
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 or 3?
2.
3.
Yeah, I think it's either one because they're kind of the same.
Yeah, that's how.
Yeah.
No, the first one and the second one are the same. It's 3. That makes
But what?
The first one, one says before, one says after.
Oh, yeah.
But they seem the same.
Yeah, tomorrow we start cell signaling. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so what's on our schedule? Then after, or like I mean like our calendar.
Yeah.
So after this exam, are we gonna have an exam 2 weeks later or 4 weeks later? It's 3 weeks after this is we're on break. Do you know what the next exam?
Does he like me?
Maybe?
Okay, I was like, 'cause I need to use my card. It's on this one or next test.
Yeah.
Maybe I use it on this one because it's supposed to be hard. I don't.
Oh yeah, that's easy. That's literally the easiest thing I've ever done. It's
You get facts, right? I'm gonna come.
I made without the letter included.
Mr.
I made an 18.
No, cell reproduction, so like mitosis, meiosis
I
is
won't.
next.
I won't be in here tomorrow. I'm helping with Katie.
Okay.
Elementary.
Do we need to stuff today?
Yeah, supposedly every day. I can take care of it though. Oh, I'm losing half the class. Why? Is it just because the information's just so, or is it because it's Monday, or is it a combination thereof?
Both. Stuff sucks. Like I don't understand it all the way.
And
then, like 6 hours when I get really tired, so then I just lose